Hey everybody, welcome back to the sixth round post-fight show with me, Zane Simon, and my co-host, as always, Eddie Mercado. We're coming to you all just from the end of UFC 293 going down in Sydney, Australia. And what the hell, man?
Where do we even begin? So many weird things happened on this card. The weirdest might have been the main event. Oh, Sean Strickland is the UFC's middleweight champion.
I mean, look, I won't deny it. I went into the fight picks, the staff picks this week. I'm like, I think we are going to see Sean Strickland get shown up. Went on the Vivi. I'm like, I think he's gonna start on the back foot. Strickland's gonna start on the front foot. No doubt about that. We know that's how these guys, what they're gonna do. He's gonna start making him think twice with feints, start busting him up with some counters, and Strickland is gonna start getting forced onto the back foot himself. And that just never happened. Never even came close to happening, really.
Not even. Nah, I mean, you have to credit Strickland. His defense was impregnable.
It was.
His the pressure, it was so constant and persistent. The way he commanded the cage. I mean, he owned every minute of that fight. Every single minute.
I didn't think he would have the footwork to cut Izzy off. I mean, Izzy was able to circle as much as he wanted, really, but the thing was just, it was the insistence. And Adesanya, I don't know if there was something. I'm going to assume that there was nothing wrong with him, nothing going on in his camp or whatever. He could not. Whenever he pressured, Strickland was not like he wasn't ready with a counter. He would start like going all wild with his hands and like getting out of position. And it was like, here it is, Izzy. You go forward. And you have the opportunity to take the fight to this man. It's right there. But he could only go forward for 5, 10, 15 seconds at a time. And the other 4.5 minutes of the round, it was all Sean Strickland had no qualms about marching Izzy down the entire time.
Yeah, and maybe part of it was the fact that Strickland dropped Izzy and almost finished him there in the first round. After that, once bitten, twice shy.
So yeah.
I think. And another thing is, Izzy only tried to kickbox. I don't think he threw a single elbow. I didn't see a single knee.
No clinch offense at all.
Yeah, nothing. It was just was just trying to kickbox from range, and it was very, very odd. Strickland
really was
the best Sean Strickland fight I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, he fought a perfect fight. You can't take anything away from him. I'm not going to ding his performance out there at all. He was absolutely insistent. He was sharp with his hands. He was good on it. He was sharp on his defense. He was always keeping his eyes open. I mean, that's always been something Strickland's great at. His defense has some funk to it, but he's always dialed in on what his opponent's doing. He's always watching, always ready to react, and never shying away, never getting his head out of position to see what his opponent's throwing at him. It was a great fight from him, but it really was like Izzy did not show up. He showed up with a fight that, you're on your back foot and you're throwing less than Sean Strickland the whole time. You're not going to win that fight.
It didn't look like the Izzy that just knocked out Alex Pereira. That's for sure.
No.
It's it's hard when you see, but maybe it's a stylistic thing.
It could be, honestly. Like, I'm not going to make any excuses that it's like, oh, like I say, I don't know. I'm not going to say Izzy was injured or anything. He's had fights like, he barely scraped by that Yoel Romero fight with hardly throwing anything against Yoel Romero. And he's had other fights where he has just kind of barely scraped by, has not looked comfortable, has not looked confident. This is one of those fights. It is a type of fight Adesanya has. It's just not the fight you would expect against Sean Strickland. And it could be simply that Strickland hurt him, because I think, I would have to assume that Izzy came into this fight thinking that if nothing else, Sean Strickland absolutely cannot hurt me. He's not, he hasn't, not like something wild couldn't happen, but just that, like, this is not the worry I have here. It's not Alex Pereira. It's not Yoel Romero.
I think Izzy thought, like most of us thought, that Strickland was going to look like he did against Pereira, and that wasn't the case. I think it's fair to say that Strickland is noticeably better defensively, all around, put together, more composed than when he fought Pereira. He's just not walking in crazy. And even the way he holds his hands, like he's more tight with everything now. He's not so reachy as he used to be. He still reaches, but they're a lot shorter reaches now.
Yeah, I'm willing to say he looked tighter, but it's also just, Adesanya, like, he kept throwing that right hand that would just get parried off, like the looping right that would get parried off by Strickland's left every time. And it's just like, there's no uppercut. You jab the body like 3 times in the whole fight. Like, you're just not going to anything else other than something that Strickland has shown over and over he can defend. It was a really weird limited performance from Adesanya, and
it wasn't like a nuts and bolts performance. Like, Izzy didn't come out looking to pump a bunch of jabs and throw a bunch of crosses. It's like from Jump Street, he's trying to be super clever out there and catch an early head kick. Like, he kept going for the head kick, and he just wasn't able to set a single thing up.
Yeah.
Like, nothing. Sean didn't get sloppy enough for him to capitalize. Like, he wasn't a fool out there. Izzy wasn't able to just catch him being sloppy. And it was it was a great fight from Strickland, and it's wild to think, like, I mean, the biggest thing I saw, somebody in our comments right now, and saying, like, here, all credit to Sean Strickland, but it's hard to imagine this being a long reign. One of the things I've been seeing a lot on our on Twitter and stuff is people saying, did Dricus du Plessis just become the best middleweight in the world? Because it is, like, I mean, it is a shocking upset result. Well, the answer to that is no. Dricus did not.
No, he did not.
Who did is Alex Pereira. He is now the best middleweight in the world once again.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that is the thing too. Of all the talk, like, Izzy and Dana White and Eugene Behrman were getting into this whole, like, I don't know if Dricus is gonna have next, or all that kind of stuff, and talk, like, you got to think that, I mean, like, I don't know, like, I don't see how you give Izzy an instant rematch off of this. You think he gets one?
Man, I don't even know if he wants one. Not right away. Like, he's been fighting a lot lately.
Yeah.
Maybe he needs some time away. But I don't see any reason why he couldn't. Like, why not?
He lost 4 out of 5 rounds. This isn't like he barely lost. It was a sneaker, and it was,
but in terms of merit, sure, but in terms of what's the biggest fight, I mean,
if the UFC is going to try and book the biggest fight, then the biggest fight involves Israel Adesanya still right now. But I don't know. I think they're gonna. I think that Dricus du Plessis fight probably just got booked, would be my guess.
Sure, that's what I would rather see. If not that, I'd rather see the Pereira rematch. and then the Izzy, and
But
then Jared Cannonier.
yeah, I don't think the Pereira fight's ever going to happen again. He and Strickland are two, they're buddies now.
Yeah, maybe, yeah, that's fair.
Pereira's out on Twitter cheering him on, being like, "I told you guys he was going to win." Yada yada.
Yeah,
I think
sure.
I think that's probably sewn up. So I think if we're getting anything next, it's either going to be a rematch or I think we get that Dricus fight. That fight just got booked. So yeah, I am shook. I am shocked. I am baffled and surprised.
Some poor soul bet like 200 and some odd thousand on Izzy just to win 30 grand.
I think Drake bet like $500,000 on Izzy. I think I saw.
Oh God,
that's why he lost.
Yeah, the curse is on again.
God damn it, Drake! Isn't there like a teenager you could hit on or something? What are you doing gambling on?
We didn't even mention this because what had the ending, the outcome was so crazy. This fight sucked.
Yeah,
this was not a good fight.
No, it really was not. I mean, it was Strickland. Yeah, we got that amazing moment in round one, which was a round he largely lost. Sure. Otherwise, he was losing that round to Adesanya before he hit that huge shot and then landed that huge flurry. And then we had like the fight that we thought we were going to get for most of this in round two, where Izzy just kind of skated away, picked him apart. And you're waiting for when does the moment that he lands something big enough where Strickland has to like start rethinking things and all that. And then after that, it just slowly, Izzy just kind of crumbled back into himself. He didn't, Strickland kept his fight on him, kept pecking at him, working the jab cross. I mean, I think Laura Sanko said it best that, Sean Strickland is going out and winning the middleweight title with a jab and a cross, just with a 1 and a 2, and that's it. And
fundamentals.
Yeah.
Izzy didn't bring fundamentals, and that's what I mean. I think Izzy, in his heart, believed he was going to just set up a knockout shot.
Yeah.
Like Pereira did. Catch him being sloppy and kicking him in the head. But Sean was not as sloppy as a lot of people anticipated.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe is this our like our Juliana Pena versus Amanda Nunes moment?
Fuck no. This is Michael Bisping, Luke Rockhold. Just without it was like if Sean finished in the first, that was it. But this is close enough for me.
Yeah.
The parallel was there.
Either way, it is a shocking result. And you know what? I gotta say too, like, I know the dude is at least very performatively, maybe privately too, but at least a very big performative asshole. But you do kind of just a little bit love to see it for Sean Strickland. Like, he was so absolutely overwhelmed by the awe of that moment and the gratitude, and like, for a dude who came from what he came from, all credit to him, man. Like,
it's an amazing story. Like, what an amazing story.
Yeah.
The motorcycle accident, the whole nine.
Yeah, like, and I mean,
he's missing part of his knee.
And two, for a dude who not only came from that, but like, jumped into MMA real young with some real basic MMA training, where it's not like Sean Strickland was like, he came up through the ranks as this like, he was an amazing wrestler though, despite his hard life, or he was a Gold Gloves boxer or something, or a great kickboxer, and he really, excelled in another sport and jumped over to MMA. And yeah, he had a hard luck life, but it's not Charles Oliveira, where Charles Oliveira came from nothing. But you're like, man, this dude is a BJJ monster. even in his bad days, even in his worst fights, he was always a beast. This is like Strickland came up as a grinder, as a dude that
it's a Rocky story.
Yeah, most people were like, yeah, this guy's, he's a little bit better than a journeyman because he's so tough and he's so dogged, and he's making it to the UFC. And we were all like, oh my God, he climbed into the top 15, kind of top 10. That's, like, that's impressive. And for him to become champ, like, that is damned impressive.
It's really a testament to the benefits of sparring. I hate to say it.
Yeah.
Getting that kind of just live action.
Dude spars hard all the time, and you can tell like that's what shows up in a fight like that, is that like he is so used to getting hard rounds in all the time that there's no point in a fight like that where he's going to be like, you know what, I've had enough, so
yeah. Oh yeah, he's not going to take a backward step.
No,
he just comes forward, and if you can't get respect or knock him out,
you
won't have a long night.
So, damn, a hell of a win for Sean Strickland. Be a wild ride with that belt, I tell you. I mean, warm up the servers, because it's gonna be wild interviews for the next 5 years, because once you become UFC champ, like, we're never gonna stop hearing from this dude.
Oh, he's made history. He's in the history books now.
Yeah.
He's done it. He's cemented his legacy. He's got a legacy now.
Yep.
The Sean Strickland legacy.
Yeah.
We're talking about,
and it's not even just a Subaru legacy.
He might be a future Hall of Famer. You know what I mean? We don't know. He's
going
after
man.
Anderson Silva's record.
All right. I don't know. I'm still recovering.
Yeah, definitely a big shock.
Big shock. All right. Let's jump over to the co-main, which was the least shocking thing, I gotta say. Alexander Volkov, Tai Tuivasa.
Nah, you can't say least shocking. Come on now.
I mean,
Volkov hit a Ezekiel choke.
Okay, he hit an Ezekiel. That was surprising.
That's insane.
Yeah, that was surprising.
Shout out to the boa constrictor.
Yeah. But it was such a set up fight from the look of it. It's just like, man, Tai Tuivasa, Volkov is so tough to put away, so ridiculously durable. And Tai Tuivasa is one of those fighters where you're like, here's insane violence for 30 seconds. Here are all the wheels falling off at high speed with a car that is going 90 down the highway. You can't be as self-destructive as Tai Tuivasa is against somebody like Volkov, who is just never going to go away.
And is really well put together.
Yeah.
Really well put together. But it was a great fight. It was
a lot of fun. Yeah.
He tried.
Yeah, he had that low kick. That was really nice to see him lean on that, because it was otherwise the big thing that stuck out to me, which I don't know if it had really stuck out to me as much in other previous fights before this one, was how much Tai Tuivasa's game takes place nose to nose. With somebody so much taller than him who fights long like Volkov does, Tuivasa could get in the pocket against Volkov and he was still short-arming hooks, because his striking style is so we are right here together throwing those short punches. And Volkov, it was just there is so much punishment you have to get through to get that close to Volkov.
Mm-hmm.
He landed one big right hook at one point, and he had to stumble on one leg and turn and miss two shots to land that one shot. And it's just how can you can't do that over and over again to land one right hand. Every other time you're getting tuned up all the way in.
Yeah, that's exhausting. At heavyweight, that's exhausting. It was fun though.
It was a hell of a lot of fun.
Definitely fun.
Yeah,
Tai, man, he's He's like someone who would have really benefited from like just a well, I guess everybody would benefit from some fundamentals, but he's just a banger, man, and
Yep.
you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
He is the definition of a fan favorite action fighter. Keep him around forever. He's going to be in the middle of the guy. It's heavyweight, so that means he'll always be able to run like 3 or 4 huge knockouts in a row together suddenly, and you're going to be like, oh yeah, Tai Tuivasa, border of top 5, and then you'll get somebody like Volkov or Gon or whatever to slam the door again. And
But I don't even know why this fight was booked, honestly.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
What was that about?
I mean, it's just Volkov has fought everybody, and they both fought like almost everybody in the top 10.
And I know it's hard for Volkov to get booked.
Yeah.
But Ty, man, like he's going.
Yeah.
His last 3 fight, like that's some stiff competition. Can we give him a softball?
Yeah,
You know what I
he
mean?
needs to step back.
Where's Augusto Sakai or something? You know what I mean? Let's get.
Yeah.
I can't believe they did that to him at home.
No. It would, like I said, I thought from the outside, I was just like, this is not a nice booking for Tai Tuivasa. I don't see a way through this one.
Well, I did. I mean, I picked Bam Bam.
Oh, you crazy man.
Well, I figured that the chaos was going to be enough for Volkov to get caught. I thought he was going to catch him.
No. Tom Aspinall got the club and sub. We got Derek Lewis had to go through basically 15 minutes of getting absolutely tuned up to land one shot. And Minikov TKO'd him in a very like early call TKO back in Bellator, where it's like, okay, he was still moving and still fine. Sure. He was trapped, but still conscious TKO. And otherwise, Volkov is just, he's taken a hell of a beating from all sorts of fighters,
Yeah, but this was like the first banger since Derek Lewis that he really fought. Like, he wasn't fighting guys who just banged.
I mean, okay, but Jairzinho Rosenstruik hits hard.
Yeah, sure. They all hit hard, Zane.
I know.
What are you talking about? He's not a banger.
He's not, okay. I'm just saying, Volkov's chin is legit. Like,
sure,
that dude.
Sure. Yes, 100% legit, but this is heavyweight, and Tai Tuivasa throws everything into every strike.
He does. I applaud your bravery. It was a bold pick.
Hey, nothing ventured, nothing gained.
That's right.
But how about that Ezekiel choke from
that was beautiful, and the fact that he learned it from Alexei Oleinik. Right. That's even better. That like, he's like 20 years ago. Alexei Oleinik taught me this choke. I'm using it here today. Still gonna work. Like these heavyweights don't know how to grab. The worst thing is that it had to happen right as DC is like, no, you can tell that Tai Tuivasa's grappling game has improved a little, and he's like, he's been working and he's doing better. It's like, man, he is getting swamped on the mats.
He might do some correct things. He was fighting the hips, but he didn't respect the choke at all. He didn't believe in it.
Yeah, he didn't know. It was the continuum of heavyweight grappling where it's like, yeah, okay, it's improved a little, but that is not the point to be making right now, because this man is about to lose this fight very badly by getting out grappled.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a no-gi Ezekiel choke outside of the heavyweight division.
No. It's like
anywhere.
It is definitely a move that only exists above a certain BMI. Right. Like that's the qualifier for the Ezekiel, for the no-gi Ezekiel. All right. That, speaking of which, that brings us to a flyweight bout. Manel Kape, Felipe dos Santos. And this is a lesson fight for why, if you've got the ranking, you don't take the unranked fights. You just don't do it. Don't fight that new guy that nobody knows or cares about. I mean, Manel Kape still won, but this was a brutal fight to get. I mean, two people gave it a 29-28. They gave Dos Santos around. It's a little charitable in my book, but
sure.
Even winning like a 30-27 across all rounds, this is just a brutal fight. And Dos Santos, like that is a young man's durability, you know?
Oh, I mean, a young man's exuberance to just say, fuck it. I'm new here, but I don't care. I'm a shootbox guy. I'm going to come in and just throw. And he answered the call. Respect to him. He showed up.
Oh, no, he showed up.
Did not shy away at all. And I think Kopp just, he was supposed to fight Kai Kara France, so he wasn't about to pull out and not get a paycheck. So you kind of got to take what they offer you.
He's missed like 5 of his last 6 fights or something due to various injury problems, drug testing problems.
But to your point, that was the hardest 30-27 I've ever seen.
Yeah, right.
Not an easy fight at all.
Credit to Dos Santos because he hung tough and everything. And what he did is, I think, what you got to do in that position, if you've got the kind of durability that he obviously has with him. I mean, obviously, defense is the real thing you should do in that position. But if you don't have the defense, you're young, you're inexperienced, you're going in there, you're just used to bulldozing people. Is he made sure he was every time he could be, he tried to be last, and that's. That's what you got to do is, you've got Kopp dipping in there and throwing like 2 huge shots on you. If you can throw a knee up the middle, if you can throw an elbow in there as he's dropping out of the pocket, whatever you can do to put one strike on the end of that combination or that exchange, he would do it. And sometimes it landed, and when it landed, it shook Kopp up a little. So,
and he throw the flying knees.
Yeah.
He went for it. He tried.
Yeah.
He was just facing, a world-class, elite, top of the food chain fighter.
Yeah. Great. I mean, as long as his durability keeps showing up like that, and assuming that over time some defense comes with it, that's a bright future for a kid. To see somebody going 3 rounds like that, and then at the end of it, still like throwing down, climbing the cage, yelling, being pumped up, not being defeated at all. Like, you don't want to see your young fighters get thrown way into the deep end before they can swim. But if they're you want to see them come out with all their confidence intact,
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's an excellent point. Definitely didn't seem discouraged at all. And I think he earned everybody's respect. Everyone's like, that was a top 15 performance out of him in your UFC debut. You're 22 years old.
Yeah, he's like got a record of like 7-0, 6-0 or something.
That's and that's the thing. If you're gonna lose early, lose to the elite.
Yeah. Nobody's gonna look at that loss and be like, oh well, he lost to Mono Kopp. You're gonna be like, no, he put on a hell of a good fight, and 5 years from now, where's he at?
It's like, how people will say how a fight ages well. Well, this one was just born well. This fight was just born well. Like, what an excellent entry. Like, you get your foot, and it's all because I think he had a Contender Series fight, and that got canceled for some reason, and so that's how he got the call up. It's like, man,
right? That's why too. I feel like I'll keep saying, don't use the Contender Series for guys like Chepe Mariscal, veterans who don't have a pretty record, but really could use a shot at the show, who've put in their time, and you're like, oh, you're 30 and you're like 16-8, but now everything's clicking, and here's your chance to show it up. For like a prospect like this, just sign him, you don't need to be putting this kid through Contender Series.
But if it'll boost your Contender Series ratings a little bit.
I get why they do it, but
I think the Contender Series is also an excellent platform for guys who are top prospects, but come from a different discipline, like Bo Nickel. right?
Sure,
You don't want to just
sure.
throw him into the UFC. So send
Yeah.
him through a couple of Contender Series fights. I think
It's also it is a good stage for that, where you've got somebody who you want to see them get, even if you're just setting them up with fights they should win, you want to set them up for 2 or 3 fights and just to like see what their skills are, see how they can fight, whatever.
Speaking of Contender Series, Sean O'Malley's the champion of the bantamweight division in the UFC.
I know.
Hey, I'm happy for him. I picked him to win. I'm excited. Great. So during this UFC 293 broadcast, they pan to the crowd, and Aljo's in attendance. Aljamain Sterling, he holds up his cell phone with a note written on it that said, "Sean, rematch?" ? Cringe, super cringe, right? Minutes, hours go by. Sean O'Malley gets on Twitter and posts a picture with his cell phone, and he wrote on the screen, "No," and he's just smiling.
Oh, yeah. Okay. We also do have somebody in the comments mentioning we're not going to talk about Cop's legendary charm, but yeah, no, this was. Oh,
what
my
happened, Zane?
God. Look, a couple of fighters, Mano Cop, Charlie Radke. I don't know. Did like Sean Strickland? Sean was so nice and so composed for his post-fight speech. Really respectful.
He was.
I feel like people just saw him on the card and they're like, man, I'm going to go for it. Tonight's the night.
We'll go for what, Zane?
Go for saying some very homophobic slurs that I will not be repeating. I think that, I think Monel Cop still wants to fight Kai Kara France, though. I get the feeling that's still a fight that he's interested in.
Yeah, I think he's legitimately upset with him for pulling out. He threw a can of soda.
Like Kara France got a concussion. What's he supposed to do? Monel Cop. I gotta say, every time he talks outside of the cage, he kind of comes off like an idiot. But
he's fighting.
Yeah,
this is
no. I am not going to be the personality and like, I need to love your personality to enjoy you as a fighter. I'm excited enough by the work Cop does in the cage, and my mantra has become mostly, if you're not an active criminal, I just don't care that much.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta sometimes separate the art from the artist, You can appreciate in MMA, the art that they make, but not necessarily the artists themselves. That's fine.
You gotta have some. There's a serious divide to have in this sport, unfortunately. But that aside, I'm not going to spend all my night talking about that. I am going to talk about Justin Tafa Austin Lane, though, because Lane got a chance to reach out and poke the eyes of God in that fight.
Happened again in this one,
right?
Right
Dude,
off the bat. Was he training with John Jones for this or something?
I mean, this is the bad part of Contender Series, is that like you just go out and when you sign these, to take a term from me, when you sign these fucking bobos, like you just get this kind of shit. Like Austin Lane cannot strike at a level, and he can't punch. He's not comfortable enough in a kickboxing exchange at a level to be in reasonable exchanges at a high level. That's what it is.
I'm okay with that. Hey, you gotta feed the monkey, right?
Yeah. It's just when you get guys like that, you're gonna get the eye pokes, you're gonna get the headbutts, you're gonna get the
you're gonna get crazy knockouts.
You're gonna get crazy knockouts too, but you're also gonna get the gouging. You're gonna get the slop. You're gonna get the wild eye raking and fish hooking and desperation stuff, because people are when they're like that, they're scared.
I call it like spastic white belt syndrome.
Yeah.
They're just not comfortable yet. They don't know what
Yeah.
they're doing, and it's more instinctual what's going on with them. It's not a
Yep.
ingrained technical, mindset or anything.
Yeah. So the moment Tafa got past those huge kicks that Lane was throwing, he just crushed him. So, good on Tafa. He gets the revenge he needed.
Mike Hunt. He's man, he's fun, dude. Him and his brother. We know what they come to do. It's no surprise. And I think him getting poked in the eye really pissed him off.
Yeah,
I think he was really pissed off about that. Robbed him of a win bonus last time. So he got to come out, show out, and showed up.
Yeah. Yeah. Good performance. Doesn't really set Toph up for anything special. He's still just kind of a guy mucking around in the bottom half of the heavyweight division, but it's good to see him get a win off of that bad eye poke off last time. And at least every time he does win, it's a thrill. So stick him in there with, for another fun fight, somebody like Martin Boudet or Carl Williams or something like that, see what he can make happen.
Yeah, anybody.
Pretty much.
Any one of those heavyweights you were just talking about that are all spasticky and white beltish.
Yeah. All right. So that brings us to a light heavyweight bout. And this was very much a fighting for your job fight. Tyson Pedro, Anton Turkalj.
The pleasure man.
Was saying on the vivisection, they call him the pleasure man because he doesn't know how to bring pain. Like, there's nothing that man does well enough or violent enough to be a hurtful fighter. It's the only pleasure, man, Like, if Tyson Pedro had lost this fight, that would have been so sad.
Sure. I thought his trash talk was kind of okay.
Yeah, he can bring some verbal pain.
Yeah,
some hurt feelings.
Games,
Yeah,
he'll hurt some feelings. He'll be a meanie.
Yeah, no.
But honestly, Pedro, he was very patient. He picked his shots, saw his openings. When he had Anton hurt, he didn't go wild. He backed up, waited for his openings again, took them, and then put on, in my opinion, the very best post-fight celebration I've ever seen in my entire life with that samurai. You do the swipe, you clean the blood off the sword, and you put it away. Fucking epic. That was fucking epic. And then you bow, like, epic.
Yeah. That was rock solid. Super fun. I love seeing Tyson Pedro when he's clearly got the athleticism. He's got some fun skills. It's just been a problem for him finding the confidence. I hope that the city kickboxing is starting to click with him because, I think his striking needed a big retuning, and it's starting to look a little bit more like he's finally getting it.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be great to see him be the prospect he looked like when he first got to the UFC. And you're like, oh, this dude's like, 6'3", 6'4", fast. Just got like power and speed and
fucked up Paul Craig on the ground.
Yeah, some serious grappling chops. And it could all be there. And then he got thrown way in above his skill level. Started getting clipped up, started getting knocked out, started getting finished, and his confidence he got hurt a bunch too, and it just all took its toll. So I'm happy to see him get this win and take another step up this time. Fight somebody like Nicholas Negamarianu. I don't know, somebody
slow down.
I mean,
you're like, his striking is finally coming around just a little bit. Throw him in there with Negamarianu.
Negamarianu's not even top 15. He's just how shallow do we want to keep Pedro out here?
Get him out there with the grappler. You know what I mean?
All right. Well, this was him with the grappler, so.
Well, yeah, let's keep that going.
All right.
For his sake, so he has time to mature in the stand-up. Or
The
not. I
man
don't
is,
really care.
I know. The man's 31 and he's been doing this for a decade. It all has to be, has to be hard sometimes. Like at some point we got to assume he's where he should be. Maybe not now, but anyway. All right. That brings us to another light heavyweight bout and a dude who's looking really quite solid, honestly. Carlos Ulberg, Daun Jung. And this was I think this was a good performance from Ulberg. It wasn't great. I think Jung the booth was giving him crap for it, but I think he fought a pretty smart fight, which is to make Ulberg come to him a lot. He really stuck to his low kicks, stuck to his jab, kept pulling back, put Ulberg on the front foot, try and get the counter striker off of his game. He got blitzed and knocked on his ass in the first round, so it wasn't a perfect plan, clearly. But it kept him in a fight where, like everybody else was waiting for Daun Jung to just overextend reaching in and get clubbed with a counter. And that didn't happen. So it pulled Ulberg into some different, deeper water. And the great thing to see from Ulberg was he didn't get that tired. And in round 3, when it seemed like his form was starting to break down and Daun Jung was trying to turn it up a little, Ulberg went out there, hit a takedown, and just dominated positionally. Like, wrecked Daun Jung with positional grappling. And that was beautiful.
No, that was phenomenal. But yeah, credit to Jung for doing the work he did do. Like you were saying, he was finding ways into the pocket inside of that range, but would just kind of freeze up and default to the leg kicks.
Yeah, it wasn't a great performance from him, but I could see like he didn't want to rush in and get caught with that left hook. That you could see that's what he was thinking about. And he rarely got caught with it all fight.
Yeah.
Practically didn't at all. So he did a great job avoiding that. But yeah, beyond that, the secondary game wasn't there until late in the fight when Ulberg did start to get a little tired and Jung started to press things a little, and Ulberg turned it right around. Like, that's what you want to see from a dude who he has either totally burnt out after round 1, or the only other fight he had was where he fought the most boring fight imaginable for 3 rounds. So to actually come on strong late for Ulberg, it's great to see.
Well, not only did he come on late, but he also scored a knockdown in that first round.
Yeah.
So, scoring the knockdown and not going crazy.
Yep.
And being able to manage that adrenaline dump in your gas tank. And he was so composed and reserved and calculated out there. And that's dangerous.
Yeah.
Like, that's really dangerous. And how about this going the distance, making it to the scorecards, but then a booth review.
Yeah, I love that.
Instant replay was like, wait, we saw a tap. And sure as shit, Jung tapped. So
they called it a finish at the point of the tap. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, that's a rare thing. We rarely get, that kind of instant replay turnovers in the moment.
Yeah.
So that's huge.
That was cool. Love that. It has to be said though right now, Carlos Ulberg's call out, that was terrible.
Yeah, Dominic Reyes.
Yeah, and especially like pumping him up, like, oh, this is a
former title challenger.
Yeah.
He was in there with the GOAT.
Yeah, and you're like, okay, who's he gonna mention? Like, is this like, does he call out Jan Blachowicz?
That's what I thought.
Is he calling out like, I don't know, some Volkan Oezdemir or something, or what is this?
Shogun Hua.
Yeah, and then it's Dominic Reyes. You're just like, oh. And then somebody came on Twitter and they made a good point while I was running through. Like, hey, if Dominic Reyes can't get called out by a fighter on the rise, then he shouldn't be in the UFC. And it's like, yeah, okay, that's fine. I don't really want to see Dominic Reyes fight right now. I mean, I'm not going to tell the UFC to cut him. I'm not going to tell him to retire. But it has now been multiple years since I have seen Dominic Reyes in a fight where I'm like, yeah, I am glad I saw Dominic Reyes fight.
Yeah. So it feels like low hanging fruit, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was like when what's his name? One of the guys last week called out the loser of Fiziev versus who's he fighting? Gamrot. He was like, "Oh, I want to fight the Fiziev Gamrot loser." Oh, it's Benoit Saint Denis. It's like, who calls out the loser of an upcoming fight? Like, I mean, I get it. It's a very practical call out in that it's a very inside baseball kind of move to be like, oh, yeah, no. Okay, I'm set up right now. I'm here. I'm ranked. I'm in the like 20 to, the 20 to 15 range. This guy's at the bottom of the 15. He's coming off a loss. He needs a bounce back. I need to step up. We're right at the same point right now. And it's like, yeah, I get it. But you just got a big win. I don't need to see you fight somebody coming off a crushing loss.
Yeah.
Or I don't want to see you calling out somebody coming off a crushing loss, even if I personally am going to be like matchmaker playing like, yeah, well, maybe this winner-loser matchup here, like Negumereanu's coming off a loss. I want to see Negumereanu fight Tyson Pedro coming off a win. That, to me, kind of, I know you're smart. You're like, but that's because you don't think that Pedro can win that fight. That's why I think that loser-winner matchup works.
Yeah, I just, as a fan, it just feels weird seeing someone, because as a fan, you kind of want to have this mindset that everybody in the UFC wants to win the belt.
Exactly.
And if you want to win the belt, why the fuck are you calling out a loser?
Exactly. You always should be looking for the biggest, best fight that you can get. Like, oh, I want the toughest guy, and it's okay. Your manager.
Well, no, not the toughest. The best paying. The best
paying. But even then, as a fighter, you want the fighter to always want the toughest guy. Now, your manager, your coach, your handlers, your people around you can be like, no, we want this fight, actually.
Yeah.
That's the fight we're working for in the background, while the fighter, we see this all the time, the fighter then is out on like social media being like, oh, I want this dude and I want this dude and I never turned down any fights. And then, like you hear a month later, two of those guys like, yeah, we offered his team that fight and they turned us down. It's like, yeah, the fighter doesn't know that though. The fighter is like, oh, I want to fight everybody. And the team is like, yeah, we don't need that fight though. But
that's Sean O'Malley laid the blueprint on how to get the title in, maybe the most efficient way possible.
Yeah. Anyway, let's jump down now. Featherweight bout: Chepe Mariscal, Jack Jenkins, and credit to Mariscal, man, because I was kind of like, we were talking about this on the video. I was like, Mariscal has a fight he has the kind of fight that could really beat Jack Jenkins, because Jenkins is very much like a one or two shots at a time, real selective, real powerful, real targeted. And Mariscal is he's just a dog. He's just a brawler. That's the kind of fight you got to take to somebody like that. You got to go after somebody who wants to be selective, get in their face, rough them up and all that. And it's just like, but Mariscal, he's a little too slow. I don't think he can really take the kind of damage that Jenkins is going to be dishing out and all that. But credit to Mariscal, because what he realized, and I think was great, is that Jenkins being so selective meant that being in the clinch with him, that was a place where Jenkins was still going to be searching for that one perfect shot, and Mariscal could just be trying all sorts of stuff.
Those knees to the leg were just adding up. They were hurting me.
Yeah.
It was a very smart adjustment he made between the first and second round, and hitting that whizzer kick and breaking Jenkins's arm because Jenkins posted. Wow.
I mean, it's on the one hand, it's like, oh, that's kind of a fluky injury. On the other hand, that is a direct result of the work that Mariscal was doing and working to do. Like I say, that clinch work he was doing, that kind of building, and we saw in that fight he had against Trevor Peak. Like, Peak would rush in all wild, and Moscow would just he would just hit that hip toss and slam him to the mat. That is like Moscow's takedown. Is that kind of hip toss kick out takedown.
So if Jenkins didn't verbally submit, I would have lobbied for this to be a slamming TKO.
Yeah, it's a TKO to injury to me. The verbal submission thing is nonsense. Like, it's a TKO via slam, TKO via injury, whatever you want to call it. It's a TKO.
Well, if you verbally submit, yeah, that is kind of weird for it to be a submission, actually.
Yeah, because you're not in a submission.
Well,
you're just hurt.
What's a submission, Zane?
Well, a submission would have to be a lock that targets a joint or breathing or blood flow. Right?
Yeah, that's why I'm saying this was like a slam.
Yeah.
So it's an injury.
If you kick somebody in the head and they say "ow," that's not submission via head injury, know?
Right. Yeah, nah. Or if you stomp someone's knee out, that's still a TKO. Yeah. This is weird.
It should be a slam TKO via injury, whatever.
Or it's no different than just telling the ref you can't fight anymore.
Yeah, at which point it's an injury TKO.
Yeah.
The verbal submission thing is bullshit.
I wonder if it was there was too much money on the books for Chepe by TKO.
That's
so
right.
They had to lock it in as a submission.
That's right. Somebody was in Buffer's ear. Even the official card said TKO, and somebody's in Buffer's ear no. I we've got $100,000 in bets on Mariscal via TKO. Winner by verbal submission. Even Wiki right now has the result as a TKO via arm injury. But all right. Yeah, great result for Mariscal, honestly.
A great
fight from him.
It's a great reminder that anything can happen in this
sport. Yeah.
Excellent reminder. I mean, I hate to see it happen I hope Jenkins is okay. But the reminder that you could be the better fighter out there. You can, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Freak shit happens. You post wrong, boom, you're done.
It's also a reminder, if you think it might hurt and you can do it, go for it. It's like the foot stomps, the leg, the knees to the thigh, all the little stuff that's just it doesn't really, if it might hurt somebody, you never know when it's going to be your lucky day.
Dude, do you remember John Tuck?
Yes.
He, I think he was with Kings for a while, but I think he won a UFC fight by breaking some dude's rib. He had someone's back.
Yeah.
Kicked he took his heels and just kept kicking the rib over and over and ended up winning the fight like that.
Yeah, heel kick to liver on Jake Lindsay.
Yeah.
Yep. Just if you got the chance, take the chance.
Conor McGregor, the shoulder shrug on
that's Cowboy right on Cowboy Cerrone. All right, which now every fighter does in the clinch. They're all doing that shoulder shrug strike.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Jamie Malarkey, John McDessie. Also, I got a crow about this one. I feel good about this, even though I scored it for McDessie. I'm assuming you did too.
Okay.
But I told Connor on the because he was like, McDessie's gonna win. He was like, I'm picking McDessie. McDessie's gonna win. I'm like, you know what? I think a couple of years ago this would be a really bad matchup for Malarkey. I would pick McDessie too, but I think Malarkey is gonna win a fight that McDessie should have won. I think McDessie's just gonna get robbed.
Right.
Malarkey is going to squeak out a very narrow fight.
This is not a robbery, though.
Yeah, it's not a robbery, but it's
not a robbery.
It's not great.
I'm fine with it.
This
the first round was pretty close.
Sure.
The second round was all
The
malarkey
second
until the
round,
knockdown.
yeah, that's the kicker.
So, I can make an argument on either side. Third
Yeah,
round was super scrappy.
yeah,
You kind of have to edge McDessie a little bit, maybe.
yeah.
Kind of went
I
for it a
think
little more.
I think at the end of the round, I think the biggest problem is the judges still don't score counter punching well enough. That you got McDessie at the end of that round, like he's hitting these kicks and he's sliding back after he hits the kicks, and then when Malarkey is coming forward and swinging, McDessie is right there popping these tight counters in there, and I think judges still just don't score counter punching well enough. So, well, you know what? Maybe I can check. Let me see.
I mean, there could be a little home cooking going on as well. Like, I'm not going to say there isn't. But it was a really close fight that could have gone either way.
Oh, that's right. It's in. Let me see. Oh yeah. Here we got the scorecards. We have the scorecards for this. One judge gave Malarkey 1 and 3. Another gave Malarkey 1 and 2, and then another gave Malarkey 1 and 3. So the two judges giving Malarkey round 3, which is, like I say, I think they're just not scoring the counterpunching in that round well enough. That decided the fight ultimately.
Yeah, maybe, or they're just like, hey, it's so close. I don't want to hear a bunch of boos. We're gonna just give the credit.
I hope they're never doing that, but they might.
That shit happens, Zane.
I know.
It happens.
Because McDessie, he outstruck Malarkey in that round 3 like 40-30. So, it was visually, it shouldn't have been that close.
The third round?
Yeah.
I mean, not only that, but that was when McDessie hit that spinning back fist that busted Malarkey's nose open.
Yeah.
Which was the most damage in that round.
Yeah. I think McDessie got a little robbed.
2 and 3 for McDessie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get it. Scrappy round.
Scrappy round, but for me, round 3 is especially egregious to try to score from Malarkey.
For me, I was even shocked that Malarkey was fighting after just getting knocked out 3 months ago.
Yeah, there is that.
That was kind of weird.
That is a little wild. All right. That brings us to a lightweight bout. Nasrat Haqparast, Landon Quinones. And this is such a weird performance fight for Haqparast. I don't even really know what to say about it. Because, Quinones goes out there, starts busting his leg all up, to the point that Haqparast has to switch stances. And then from orthodox, the whole rest of the fight, clearly not a comfortable stance for Haqparast, but from orthodox, he proceeds to box Quinones up all the rest of the time. And the big reason was that because he wasn't comfortable in orthodox, he actually had to change speeds. So that suddenly his left hand is power, his right hand, it's not his power hand. So he's pawing with that little short shots and then hitting a big left hook, or he's trying to jab with his left hand. He's not used to doing that. So it's pawing with it a little bit and just kind of slapping and not going fast, and then changing things up with a power shot whenever he gets comfortable enough deep in a combination. And then every time McDessie would go back to southpaw, or not McDessie, but Haqparast would go back to southpaw, he just would start throwing the left hand at one speed, one power over and over again, and it wouldn't land half as well. It didn't do half as well as when he was fighting out of the orthodox stance against Quinones. It was just a really weird fight.
Well, it was also his coaches were having him enter his usual way and then switch stances to throw.
Yeah.
And just that one entry coming at you and having it switch.
Yeah.
That alone, just the change there is a big ass input. Everything changes and you're like, whoa, shit. And then you got the strikes coming from a different angle. I mean, it shows how world class Nasrat is.
It was a very solid veteran tough it out performance of oh, my game got fucked.
Yeah.
I got to find something else. And
he did what he had to do. Very, very gritty performance. And
yeah,
I love when guys can make those adjustments on the fly. Like, hey, this shit
yeah,
is not working. I'm compromised. What can I do? Okay, I have
yep,
other options. I have a deep well to pull from. And that was fantastic. And I gotta
yep,
say that second round, holy shit. That
yeah,
second round was phenomenal. That was a
it really
nasty
was.
second round.
Yep. Great fun fight. Fun fight from Haqparast. Still, I hope he takes something away from this, because when he can change his speed up a little bit, he is a much more interesting, dangerous puncher than when he's just going out there in southpaw, throwing 1-2s over and over at one speed and one tempo. Like, this fight, he offered so much more variation than he usually does. And when he did that, like, he had Quinones all befuddled in a way that Quinones was not when it was just Haqparast in southpaw.
Quinones is inexperienced too.
He is.
So that was probably a big mind fuck for him.
Yeah.
Especially when you had so much success, just for them to immediately adjust to it and have an answer in real time. That's got to be deflating. He kept looking at the clock like halfway through the round too. Like, fuck, we're still fighting. Man, and another thing that this is an X factor, but Nasrat, his second home is Morocco, and they just had that massive earthquake. So that, I don't know if it played a factor, but that's got to be weighing on him.
It was probably a big factor in the, like, I cannot lose to some kid right now just because he kicked my leg a bunch. Like, I gotta find another way to win.
Badr Hari didn't even fight.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Crazy fight, fun fight, great performance from Haqparast. And for Quinones, he showed up, he fought well, tough out, It's
a lot of tough debuts on this card.
Yeah. All right, that brings us to welterweight bout. Charlie Radke, Mike Diamond, Blood Diamond.
Man, Mathetha, that's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough to say. I don't know why. Mathetha. It sounds incomplete, maybe.
The list for me makes it real easy, so
yeah. Blood Diamond, it sounds weird too. I feel weird saying that.
Mike Diamond?
No, Blood Diamond.
Oh, Blood Diamond. Because he goes by Mike Diamond actually now, mostly.
Okay.
He lost the blood, but everybody still calls him Blood Diamond because that was like the weird, cool thing. Mike Diamond is not nearly as weird and cool. It's just more like...
No, Mike Diamond sounds like a greasy car salesman or something.
Yeah.
Or he's got like the leather jacket with the chains for sale.
Yeah.
The Cuban links.
But sticky, ugly fight.
Pissed me off. This fight pissed me the fuck off. This whole fight, everything about it from start to finish, I just did not like it. I didn't like anything about this fight. I felt like the commentary team were just sucking the Diamond dick a little too hard. They were just shitting. They were shitting on Charles the whole time. I'll be honest. They're like, what are you doing? You had success with your hands. You should separate and give this kickboxer his only chance to win. The narrative they were spitting out was ridiculous. And I felt like the machine was against them. Like, Blood Diamond got away with so many fouls, fence grabs, ball shots.
Oh, he's terrible.
I mean, that's that spastic white belt shit that we were talking about earlier. And it was just an ugly fight. And he did what he had to do to get the win. And then he gets on the mic and he's an asshole. And everything about this fight was trash.
It really was. Because to me, too, I got to say, like, but that's, Mike Diamond, Blood Diamond, his game sucks. And Radke did not do anything to make it look sucky. We can say the commentary was getting on him too much for, like, trying to grapple and all that, but it was not functional wrestling that he was getting done.
No, it was wall installing.
It was pure wall install. It was just ugly in every way possible. And then he
What'd he say? What'd he say, Zane?
That,
oh shit.
Yeah, no. Then Radke getting out there and calling all the audience a bunch of, getting into the slurs and all that. It's just like, man, just. And then, of course, too, like the weirdest thing is to me, the weirdest thing is to then go out and issue the like 2-paragraph apology right afterward.
Did he?
Yeah, it's just like, what is this bullshit, man? You said that with your whole chest in the moment. There was not a bit of you that was like, oh, I don't know, maybe I should say this, maybe I shouldn't. You were screaming it at people. Like, you turning around and being like, that's not me, I'm not that guy. It's like,
He's
sure, Chuck.
But it's like you're that guy in victory.
Yeah, too. Yeah.
What do you like when you lose?
Yeah. Anyway. For that, Gabriel Miranda, Shane Young, and man, Shane Young is in a bad place. I mean, awesome fight for Gabriel Miranda. No notes.
Flawless victory.
But like, Shane Young is the first real fighter Gabriel Miranda has beat. And this is like a 25-fight career for Gabriel Miranda of pure can crushing.
Well, not a bad way to bring up a prospect,
Yeah.
And
apparently.
A sub 1 minute finish. Like, come on.
Miranda,
awesome.
he is the Brazilian Derek Minner. It's that like 100% balls to the wall from moment one. I am going to try and throw some wild submission at you. Are you ready for it? And Shane Young just was absolutely not ready for it at all.
No, this was a beautiful steamrolling.
Yep.
I don't think
first sub loss of a Young's career. No, Young didn't do anything.
I wonder if did Miranda get a performance bonus for that? I hope he did.
Bonuses went to Strickland and Tafa. Fight of the night went to Kopp and Dos Santos.
Wow, that sucks.
Yeah,
you go out and strangle someone in 59 seconds and you don't get a performance bonus. Well, at least he got 30% of Young's purse.
Yeah, you got that performance bonus.
Man, that sucks for Young. He's walking away with 70% of his purse, and he's got to pay all his coaches and everything else.
And he's lost 4 straight fights, and he's the first city kickboxing fighter in the UFC to ever miss weight.
And not a good look.
Yeah, it's just all bad news for Young right now, man. Feel for the guy. He's talked about mental health stuff a lot, so I hope that he's not going through it, because that's a rough place to be in. All right. And finally, we wrap up the card. Kevin Juicy, Kiefer Crosby, Juicy K. I think we got to go from here on out. Juicy K.
Juicy K. Sure.
Juicy K. Kiefer Crosby. And my feeling going into this was if you're taking like, C tier city kickboxing and you're matching it against C tier SBG Ireland, I know who I'm taking every single time.
100%.
And it's not SBG Ireland.
No. And what sucks is SBG Ireland, I think Conor McGregor, right? So GCK comes out and he was just looking stiff as a board. Stiff as wood. And all I can hear is Conor's voice in my head saying how stiff he looks. Just a bunch of stiffness and solo jabs and solo leg kicks. But I did like how it abruptly ended with a submission. I thought that was pretty dope.
Yeah. Solid performance from Juicy, all things considered.
And an awesome call out. Called out Ian Gary. Not going to
get that fight. Yeah, no.
Doesn't matter. He's trying. He's reaching.
Yep, exactly. And it's a better call out than fucking Dominic Reyes,
Sure. Oh, infinitely better.
Yeah.
But poor Crosby, man. He tried to hit that step over. He tries to hip toss a fucking judo black belt and gets strangled for it. Not a genius move there from Crosby.
Absolutely.
Oh,
All
how
right.
about the fucking what fight was it that had the round ended instead of a bell, we got a car
Oh,
horn?
yeah, we got the Honda driving up. I think that was this one.
The
It was no. It
57
was the Radke Mateta fight. That was the first fight that had a bell. The other two didn't. So
Yeah. That
yeah,
was
they had the like bicycle like the kind of like
the clown horn.
yeah.
Did you what fight during the Malarkey fight? Did you get the blue screen of death on your stream?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. What was that about?
Technical difficulty. Tony Ferguson tripped over a cord
Ah,
backstage.
that son of a bitch.
Yeah. All right. On that note, we're going to wrap it up. We're going to actually bounce over to our Substack and record a little bonus content. So if you're a subscriber, that'll be coming at you later tonight. If you're not a subscriber, this is the time to subscribe. Otherwise, you can find me on Twitter at the Zane Simon. You can find Eddie on Twitter at the Eddie Mercado. You can find both of us over at bloodyelbow.com. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And we'll be back for next week for UFC Noche UFC.
I actually will not. I'm gonna be heading to the Dominican Republic for Karate Combat 41.
All right. Well, Eddie will be over in the Dominican Republic doing the Karate Combat thing. I will be back. All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you later.